Everybody, it's Trisha Lee in Alberta, Canada. Welcome to our hangout on disruptive technology. We've been doing these every day. It's been over 2 weeks now. This is William, and today we're going to be talking about the law of attraction and using it in for your business and for your life, really. Super valuable information that I think I personally kind of knew a little bit about it before I started working on this project, and I think Larry also had been exposed to one of the most popular resources for using the law of attraction, which is the movie and the book, The Secret. And it was by Rhonda Byrne, and so we kind of knew about it. However, we have found some very valuable resources that have helped us to use the law of attraction in a much more effective way than in the past. I think we kind of were using it in the beginning of this project without even really knowing it on some things. I'll give you an example. When the opportunity to go to Texas to participate in the North America's largest solar power trade show, Solar One, in Dallas, we neither one of us really had the resources to be able to travel to Texas with our prototype, which at the time was only being used for heat purposes. We had no mechanism or way of generating electricity with that initial prototype that we took to Texas. It was strictly for heating. I think we had heated water and then glycol. So when we just thought about going to Texas, a lot of the reason why we wanted to go when we heard about the opportunity was because we knew that there had to be a way that we could take this heat source that we had created for heating glycol and water and use it for, well, we weren't really sure what it could be used for, but we knew that there was some kind of application that we could take this heat and be able to create a lot of energy, usable energy for people. And I think even maybe before we went to Texas, we had thought about Stirling engines, and so we had kind of been looking at Stirling engines before we went to Texas, and so we're kind of looking to make a connection with a bigger company that could help us develop the technology. And that didn't really happen because we didn't really set our intentions for Texas for when we went there. However, what we did do is before we even were able to go, we set the intention that we wanted to go to Texas. Yeah, we should check this out. We need to know what's going on with other companies in the industry and see what kind of resources that we can gain from this experience as far as networking and meeting other people in the same business that would be able to help us further our mission to bring our disruptive technology to market. So when we heard about Texas, we had both been kind of like, oh, that would be a really good thing for a company. And neither one of us really had the resources to put it together. But we set the intention that, hey, we want to go to Texas. Let's go to Texas, and we'll take our prototype down there. And we don't know how we're going to get there. Let's go ahead and respond to the invitations. I believe we got an email invitation inviting us to the Solar Power Trade Show in Texas, and so we responded with, yes, we would like to be exhibitors at your trade show. And I'm not quite sure exactly how it all played out, but what I do remember is that there was this massive hailstorm that hit locally, and both both mine and Larry's cars got pelted with hail, like literally pelted with hail. And so when that happens, of course, you go to your insurance company and you make a claim, and they will pay to have all of the hail damage removed from your car. Well, we found out that we were able to have the insurance company write us a check, and then we were able to keep that money instead of taking our cars to the shop and getting them fixed and paying that money to the shop for the repair. As long as we signed off that we would never be able to claim weather damage to our vehicles again in the future. So we both went through this process with our separate insurance companies at the time, and we both received sizable checks from the insurance company to cover the hail damage to our cars, and we took that money and we ended up in Texas with it. So I think in that situation, without even realizing that we were doing it, we used the law of attraction to get the resources to go to Texas just by setting the intention and saying, okay, we want to go and do this. How can we do it? So many times in life and in business, opportunities arise, and instead of looking for the possibilities, a lot of people, and I've been guilty of this myself definitely many occasions, right away see the obstacles. Oh, well, I don't have any money to go to Texas, or I don't have a passport, or our technology is not ready. People won't take us seriously if we show up with this prototype because it doesn't look pretty and it's not for sale. It's not a product that's that we're able to start marketing. Or another obstacle could have been that we didn't have any technical data sheets. We hadn't had any engineering done on our prototype. We didn't have all this information to answer all these questions that people that would come to this trade show and look at our display would be asking us. We weren't going to have the answers to their questions, and so there was a lot of reasons for us to say, no, we're not ready. We're not ready to go to Texas. We're not ready to debut our idea, our disruptive technology to the world. However, we went for it. And so because we did not know as much about the law of attraction as we do currently, I think we may have, well, we did a lot of learning in Texas, but there's a chance that we missed some opportunities because we did not set our intention. So the first step to the law of attraction is setting your intention. You've got to know what you want. And able to attract what you want to yourself, you have to know what that is. And so some other examples I'll get Larry to share of him. I can remember him using the law of attraction on a lot of occasions in the product development aspects. He would, well, basically our SketchUp that's on the website, that was from his mind what he wanted to create, and so that involved a lot of visualization, which is the next step. Is once you've set your intention, you know what you want, you got to visualize having that thing that you want. So it was quite amazing how that SketchUp drawing actually turned into a real 3D and 3D piece of machinery, and it very, very, very closely matched the SketchUp drawing that Larry had envisioned. And then some other situations, without even knowing it, Larry would, he told me he would think about a problem or a stumbling block that he had come across in the inventing process, and he would think about it before he went to sleep, and the solution to the problem would come to him in a dream. And that is very, very much how the law of attraction works. And even though at the time that he was telling me these things, I don't think he realized he was using the law of attraction, but in hindsight, now that we're actually actively studying these concepts, it's very obvious looking back how we attracted that hailstorm and that financial resource to go to Texas in the same way Larry uses the law of attraction in the inventing process to solve stumbling blocks. Do you want to talk a little bit about how visualization worked for you in the beginning before you even knew a lot about the law of attraction, or whatever you want to talk about in regards to applying the law of attraction to disruptive technologies? Do you have anything? Can you hear me, Larry?
I think
I don't know if
you covered a couple of things that I did, like the SketchUp concept before we even started really working on how the thing was going to end up looking. It's always good to have a basic draft or a draftsman drawing of what you're going to attempt to do, and I'm pretty sure most companies, when they come up with new products, they first start on the draftsman table. And with SketchUp now, it's a lot easier. You don't have to have great drafting skills, because you can take different types of things from other people's drawings. That's the way SketchUp works. It's a great little tool. And then create your own thing from those drawings. So that's that was probably a pretty big one. I think a lot of the stuff that happens as you're putting together your invention, when you hit a stumbling block, you have to figure a way over it, and it really involves stopping and then visualizing what you're really trying to do, and how it's going to work, because you're not really sure when you're inventing something. You're not really sure what it's going to look like when all is said and done, or how well it's going to work. It's kind of a learning process as each step you take goes. And I know Edison, the inventor of the light bulb, talked about that process a little bit as well. On he'd visualize something and try it, and it didn't work, and he would just keep hammering away at his ideas, trying to make them work. And eventually he did. And I think his discovery, the electric light bulb, is one of the hugest discoveries in the history of man, as far as it's almost as big a discovery as the discovery of.
Oh, I think Larry might have froze on us. I can't hear you, Larry. Anyway, I'm just... Hello! So, Larry dropped out on us. I'm just putting a link for the SketchUp in the chat here. So I don't know, hopefully people can see that. But it's a Google product. It's amazing. It's like a professional drafting for amateurs. It's pretty cool. So I put the link in the chat. So I think that'll show up in the comments, I hope, under the video. So anyway, going on about using the law of attraction for business, it's such a simple concept. It's so simple that a child can understand how the law of attraction works. Yet, it's such a diverse topic that you could spend a lifetime studying it and still not understand all the ins and the outs of how exactly the law of attraction affects us every single moment of every single day. I see it in my own life all the time, and definitely when I stay positive and happy, things just go more smoothly. And when I start getting frustrated, then that's when trouble occurs. And there's something to be said about maintaining it. I think it's all about vibration. Really, really do. You have to be in this high level of vibration in order to attract the things that you want. Because if you're in a low vibration, where you talk about problems rather than solutions, well, when you talk about problems, you're vibrating at a lower frequency and you attract more problems. Whereas if you're talking about solutions, you're vibrating at this high frequency and you're able to attract solutions, and it's a very, very powerful thing, and it's absolutely amazing. Like, I think about some of the other situations. I know in Germany, I think that the law of attraction really, really worked against us in that trip. There was a product that we had ordered. It was actually what we were going to be using for our heat transfer fluid to do a demonstration of our equipment generating electricity. And the thing of the matter is that our equipment worked flawlessly for tracking the sun. Because if you don't know what I'm talking about, on our website, kingsss.ca, you can go there and catch up on what it's about. So it's kingsss.ca, stands for King Sunshine Solar Systems. So our system, the tracking device that follows the sun with the magnifying lens, it worked flawlessly. However, rather than focusing on the fact that that was working really, really well, when people were approaching us and talking to us about the technology, there was, at least for myself, there was some complaining going on about how, you know, our equipment got held up at customs, and that our materials were not there, and we were really frustrated because we were told that the materials would be shipped and would be waiting for us when we arrived in Germany, and they weren't, and we had to wait for them, and it was really frustrating. And we kind of, well, I did at least let that frustration get to me, and then because I was vibrating at that low frequency, I feel very strongly that I attracted the mishap that occurred, which was that when customs was inspecting our crate of equipment, they actually broke our pump, which was a vitally important part of the fluid system. And so we only ever got to demonstrate half of our technology working at that trade show. And so it was, I think, the level of frustration that we were feeling with these parts and materials not arriving on time that caused that setback, which at the time felt really major, but looking back, it wasn't really a big deal. People were actually quite impressed with what they did see working, as well as I think that we got a lot more attention from the public walking around, because during the trade show they were seeing that Larry was like a mad scientist. He was working on the equipment actively during almost the entire event, whereas most other people were kind of standing at their booths with a business card and a brochure saying, "Look at my stuff." And so yeah, it definitely caught a lot of interest of people that were like, "Well, wait a minute, what's this guy doing? He's different than everybody else here, is standing here with a business card and a brochure for me and maybe a free baseball cap or pen, but this guy, he's doing something." Well, they'd have to stop and ask, what is he doing? And so in a way it was a really good thing that all of these setbacks occurred during this trade show, but at the time we did not see it that way. And then moving forward, I think that now, thanks to Project AWOL and their there will be a link somewhere in the description way down there to find out about Project AWOL. But what it is, it's an internet marketing training, and their system and training focuses very, very intensely on law of attraction principles. And so since we discovered Project AWOL, we've actively been studying the law of attraction, and they've recommended for us to be reading books like Think and Grow Rich and The Science of Getting Rich. And the titles of those books are a little bit deceiving, because the title really kind of makes you think it's all about making money. However, there's very little talk of actual financial matters in either one of those books, or if you look at The Secret, they don't specifically talk about, okay, this is how your balance sheet should look, kind of this is how you get rich, this is what you invest in. It's not at all about that. It's about these bigger concepts of feeling gratitude in every situation, and keeping that high vibration where you're able to attract the things that you want. And a big part of it is setting your intention, knowing what you want, and then focusing intently your thought on the things that you want. So many times, and I've been guilty of this a lot in my life, we think about the things that we don't want. We think about what's wrong. We complain, and by doing that, you become, I heard one of the Project AWOL trainers talk about, you become a crap magnet. And so if you are sitting there complaining about your boss, complaining about traffic, complaining about weather, you are like literally a crap magnet. And I see this all the time, all around me in the world, because it's just kind of a common state of mind for people to be in this low vibrational frequency that where they complain. And I think it's caused a lot by the media culture keeping people at that low vibration by filling their minds with things that really don't matter. Like, people are sitting there passively being entertained rather than actively thinking about, hey, what do I want out of life? What do I want to do with my life? Getting out there and actually doing the things that they want to do. Instead, they tend to sit around and think about what is bad out there, and it affects their health, it affects their relationships, and it affects their finances. And so the titles of those two books that I referenced are quite deceiving as to what the content of the book really is. It doesn't really talk a lot about getting rich. It talks a lot more about these bigger concepts of gratitude and staying in a high vibration, and just having a positive state of mind and focusing on what you actually want. And so Larry's a little bit newer to the study of this material. He actually had a coworker back in the day when we were employees. He actually had a coworker that brought The Secret to his attention. However, when you look at The Secret, it's a very, very superficial kind of look at the law of attraction. When you get into a book like Think and Grow Rich, or The Science of Getting Rich, Think and Grow Rich is by Napoleon Hill, and The Science of Getting Rich was written by Wallace D. Wattles, and they were both written around the turn of the 20th century. So it's long time knowledge that has been out there. These concepts have existed for a really long time. However, these two books present it in a way that's much more in-depth and much more actionable than what was presented by Rhonda Byrne's original Secret. Would you agree with that, Larry? And did you have any thoughts about maybe comparing the Secret to the Think and Grow Rich or The Science of Getting Rich books that we've been studying?
Well, since we're talking about it, it's not much of a secret anymore. But it's interesting that there's great similarities between the two. And the law of attraction, I think, is the common thread that bonds the two together. Just like the law of attraction, the law of gravity, it's a couple of laws. The law of attraction is a really fascinating one, though, how it actually works. And it's one of the most powerful things I've ever discovered. I think, like you said, I think I've been using it for a lot of years without even knowing what it was. And now, and I think, and that goes to show, that goes for a lot of other people, especially engineers in R&D and stuff. I don't think they'd have a choice other than to use the secret or the law of attraction to get things done, or else they'd be sitting in laboratories, actually doing nothing. And if it wasn't for the law of attraction, I don't think a lot of things would get developed. And so we talk about it, or some people talk about it like it's a real big thing, but it's really not. It's a matter of really being focused on whatever you're doing, and it can be anything you can imagine. But as long as you're very focused on it and emotionally focused on it, you can get things done. And I agree. A lot of things that we've done since we started this company have involved the law of attraction without even knowing it. And now that we're both kind of studying it and other things, it seems to be helping the company progress faster than I even imagined. Some of the things that have happened in the past couple of weeks have just totally floored me. And why it's occurring that way, you know, it's a peculiar thing. I think we're going to be headed toward Malaysia soon because of the business we're in. I don't know why. There's no real reason for North Americans to be doing as little as they are regarding alternative energy and solar power. It boggles my mind. You know, it's from what I've been studying in other Asian countries that even have oil and gas. It's like, okay, we have oil and gas, but hey, we've also got whatever, mangoes or rice or tea, electronics. You know, it's not their primary focus. And how that happened in North America is really hard to understand. How we became so obsessed with gas and oil that we're willing to go to war over it. It's actually kind of depressing that's really what people work, live, and breathe for here in North America.
So let's not go there because we're going to Malaysia. So yeah, we've decided that we want to set up manufacturing there because all the other huge corporations have done that, and we just see a couple of drawbacks to some of the things that are going on here, and I'm sure there's a lot of other reasons why other big corporations have decided to move their manufacturing overseas, and I'm sure we'll discover more of why that is once we get there. However, it just is pretty obvious that that's how it's done now, and so I don't want to end up falling behind or getting stuck with the technology because of some moral obligation to the place where I was born and raised, especially just given what I've seen, what I see occurring here in regards to the environment, in regards to people's attitudes. I'm super looking forward to spending a good chunk of time away from some of those things. And I just want to touch on something you said there, Larry, about the law of attraction and the law of gravity. Yeah, definitely. These are all Hello. So yeah, I was just I'm back. I was just making the point about how like the laws of gravity or the laws of thermodynamics, the law of attraction works whether you believe in it or not. So I see a lot of people. I'll just give you an example of how I see it working against other people. Um, like well, no, I won't do that because that's not a good way to keep my positive vibration up. So I'll we'll talk about more how it's working in a positive way for our company. I was hoping Larry would talk a little bit more about his experiences of um, having a stumbling block to overcome and thinking about it intensely before going to sleep, and then having the solution come to him in a dream. Because I don't recall which one of the books that it's in. I think it may have been Napoleon Hill, but it might be the Science of Getting Rich. But in one of those books, they have I think almost a whole chapter, but they have a significant couple of pages dedicated to using our subconscious state of sleep and the dreaming process to help us attract what we want in the world. And so, yeah, I was hoping that you would touch on what that experience is like to have to go to bed with a stumbling block in mind and to wake up with a solution, or at least an idea of something to try.
Oh, it's the coolest. Um,
Do
dreams.
you have like a specific example of when that happened that you can think of to share with everybody? I remember you telling me, I'm not sure which part that it was, or which I'm not really dealing with that part of the business too much. Like, I do a lot more of the coming up with resources for financing the parts that Larry requests that he wants to try, or the materials that he requests to try in experiments with the technology. And I also am dealing with some of the government grant applications and possibilities, and some of the more clerical stuff. And Larry's um, busy on the product development side. So, did you think of a specific example of a issue that you solved in a dream, like it talks about in those books?
Um, I would say there's been several. I think
Oh, I
the
know.
the latest one was probably God. There was one just happened within the past couple of weeks when for the life of me, I can't remember regarding what part it was. I think it might have been this new component that I'm incorporating, just to bring everybody who's listening up to speed. We've got an intense amount of heat, and we're using a heat shield to block some areas of the magnified sunlight so that it doesn't burn components. And I think it was in a dream I had where I thought, well, what would be the best way to keep that from happening, but instead of losing the power to losing the energy to a heat shield, find a way to funnel the sunlight into the kaboomer where the magic takes place. And that's pretty much what I went to bed thinking about, sitting on the edge of the bed thinking, how am I going to solve this? How am I going to solve this? And I thought, okay, I'm going to go back to the computer and work on it. And then I just stopped myself and I said, screw that. I shut off the light and went to sleep. And the morning I woke up and I had the answer. It was this a funnel At first it was a funnel lens, but it just turned out a funnel mechanism can actually funnel sunlight towards an object if it works like a funnel. And so I pretty much dreamt that whole thing happening. And I'm pretty sure it's going to work because it got verified by an expert in the lens industry, the lens manufacturing industry. One of our suppliers verified the idea. Hello? Hello?
Yeah, gotta keep those thoughts coming. Don't want to have a bunch of dead air going out there onto the internet. Yeah, it's a fascinating process, and yeah, I know that you've told me on several occasions. I've gotten calls from Larry that, oh my gosh, I woke up and I know how to do it now, and not all the time was that. Those ideas, they didn't all end up working out, but some of them have, and yeah, I think it's super important to be able to visualize what you want, especially in the process that you're dealing with. I've been doing a little bit of that on my end with the financial resources. Can you talk a little bit more about visualizing some of the things that you require and then how you've been finding them?
Yeah. Well, when it does happen, when you do have the dream, when you come up with something, sometimes it can be a solution to a problem that's involving a whole bunch of different components. And then you find out, well, that solution worked for that application, and but there was something else that crops up after because it's all part of a growing process, and whatever that component was that you dreamt up becomes obsolete really fast. And so whenever that occurs, you have to visualize the next thing that you have to fix. Jesus. Hang on a sec.
So yeah, I've actually been studying this stuff for a little bit more than a year now, and it's I've had some really amazing results that have come through because of the things that I've been learning, and mainly my best advice for anyone out there that has a disruptive technology that you are bringing to the market, no matter what industry that it's in, is to be grateful. And for me, when I first started on this journey with the law of attraction, I had some situations in my life that I was not happy with, that I had to take responsibility for the fact that I had attracted that position in my life to me via my attitude in life and via my lack of gratitude. And so by being grateful for things like a boss that I wasn't crazy about, I started actively feeling thankfulness towards the fact of even having a job, towards the fact that this person gave me the opportunity to earn a paycheck so that I could pay my bills, even though sometimes I had before I felt that this person didn't treat me right, that wasn't nice to me, and I would complain, oh, my boss, he yelled at me, he's a jerk, and da 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 da. And then once I found Project AWOL and started studying these concepts, I started really digging into gratitude. And I started being grateful for some of the things that I was complaining about, and my life has completely changed. I was able to leave that boss and leave that job that I was so not liking before. Shortly after, I started appreciating the job and the opportunity that I was working. in this company, and I started my own company before that, and all of a sudden, as I started being really grateful that, you know, I'm in this place and I'm lucky to be here and to be able to get these resources. However, I'm moving to another place where I will not have to work for someone else, where I will be my own boss, where I've started my own company, and I'm so grateful that I've started this company. And even though I'm not able to be my own full-time boss in my own company, there will come a day where I will be able to be my own boss and have my own employees, and that's all that started to happen as I started being just practicing gratitude. And that's, I think, the number one. Well, I guess that's the third step. The first step, using the law of attraction, from what I've been learning, is setting an intention, knowing what you want. The second step is visualizing, how things will, how your excuse me, how your life will look when you get those things that you want. Once you have what you want, you've decided what you want, and then you need to visualize how it will be when you have that. You need to visualize as if you already have it. Visualize what that dream house looks like, what that dream car looks like, how it feels to drive it. You have to, like, very, very intensely visualize. And then the third and most important part of using the law of attraction, in my opinion, and from what I've learned, is feeling intense gratitude, even for the things that you don't want, the things that you don't like. Find the silver lining, like they say in the old cliche, every cloud has a silver lining. Find that silver lining. You're at a job that you hate, well, you know what? Maybe you hate your job, but I know what you don't hate, and that's that paycheck. So if you can forget about complaining about all the things that you don't like about whatever job that you're at, and focus on that paycheck and how grateful you are to have that paycheck. What a blessing it is to have the opportunity to be able to pay your bills. If you can focus on that, and focus on being grateful for having a boss that writes you that paycheck, rather than complaining about, you know, that your boss did this or that or treated you bad or whatever you think is going on, whatever's bad about the situation, just delete it from your mind and find something, anything, any little thing about what you don't want to be grateful for. Count your blessings. You're blessed with so many things. You're blessed with, hopefully, with eyes to see, with ears to hear, with a nose to smell, with a mouth to speak, to talk, to eat, with a whole body that does all of these multitudes of functions that we don't even know about, that it's just are automatically done for us. Breathing, thinking, blinking, all of these things that our bodies do for us. Like, what a blessing, what a miraculous blessing. If you can be grateful for those things and focus on that, that is the real juice behind the law of attraction. Of course, if you haven't set an intention and you don't know what you want, you're just going to get good things. If you're grateful, if you're grateful for the blessings that you have, you're going to get good things. However, to get specifically what you really want, you got to decide what that is and visualize it. But I guarantee you, if you just don't even worry about that, and you just focus on counting your blessings and being grateful for all of the things that you already have, your life will start to change. At least that's been my experience, and I've seen it happen with other people. And I've also seen the opposite. I've seen people that complain and worry, and they just have tragedy after struggle, and this their whole life. They are, just like the AWOL trainer explains, a crap magnet, a literal crap magnet, because all day long they think about what they don't want, they complain about what they don't like, and they just get more and more and more and more of it. It's just like a never-ending cycle of, instead of being like, hey, wait a minute, I have my health. what good would the money that I'm complaining that I don't have be to me if I didn't have my health? Let's be grateful for health instead of just incessantly complaining about the other things. Or, you know, there's what good is if you didn't have your health? What good would a bank account full of money be to you if you were sick and miserable? Like, you wouldn't be able to take that money and go on a vacation and have a really good time if you didn't have your health. If you're in a situation where you have a lack of health, find the one part of your body that feels good and be grateful for that. Or look at your comfortable financial situation and be grateful for that. Or there's something out there. You have friends, you have family, you have so many things to be grateful for in this world. Food, shelter, whatever. The simplest thing. If you just can focus on being happy and thankful for what you do have, you get more of it. So in business, especially with the disruptive technology, it's very, very, very important to know what you want and to focus intently on and visualize what you want, especially in regards to disruptive technology, because it tends to be new, cutting-edge stuff that probably doesn't exist. So you really have to visualize it, because you can't just take a picture of it and put it up and look at it unless you go to the SketchUp that I put there and create a picture of it. If it doesn't exist, if it's a patentable idea that you have for a new disruptive technology, yeah, you have to be able to visualize it, because how are you going to do a SketchUp kind of draft of your idea without a vision of it in your mind? You won't be able to. Any great artist will have a vision of what they want to see on that canvas before they put the paintbrush to the paint. Before they add the paint to the paintbrush, they already have a picture in their mind of what that canvas is going to look like. And it's very, very much the same when you're developing a disruptive technology, is you have to have that vision in your mind of what it's going to be, or you're just going to be shooting in the dark and have a really difficult time. So however, the most powerful thing is the gratitude. I must say that has made the biggest difference for me and my company, and I'm very, very excited that in the next couple of days, I believe that we will have a huge announcement to make about what we have manifested into our business using the law of attraction. The compounded effect of Larry and I both studying these books has been phenomenal. In the Think and Grow Rich book by Napoleon Hill, he specifically, there's a whole chapter where he talks about having a mastermind. And for over a year now, I have been on my own studying these concepts, learning these concepts, and Larry's not here, so I can, oh, here he comes. But learning these concepts, and I wasn't really seeing the results that I wanted. And in Think and Grow Rich, there's a lot of, like I said, there's a whole chapter dedicated to having a mastermind, which is basically, the concept is 2 heads are better than 1. And so by being able to convince Larry to finally turn off the music, which we love music, however, I think that this information in these audio books is a lot more valuable than, you know, some nice music. So I finally convinced him to start studying this stuff with me, and within a few weeks, we've had some pretty amazing results that have happened with our business. And like I said, I'm looking forward to announcing exactly what we're able to create for our company in the next couple of days. And then also just moving forward, I see the things that are going to be happening, like this idea of setting up our manufacturing in Malaysia. It's going to happen, and it's all because the both of us are working together as a mastermind. We've set our intention that we want to have manufacturing happening in Malaysia, and we want it to happen fast. So we've set that intention, and now we've been actively focusing on what is going to happen when we get there. Just imagining ourselves there, imagining the type of people that we're going to be working with, the type of employees that we're going to be hiring, the type of facility and equipment that we're going to be using to manufacture our disruptive technology. And then we've just been so grateful for every little thing, every single day, and we really keep each other accountable about it. Like I've had Larry specifically, if he hears it or if I hear it, so either one of us will say, hey, are you complaining? As soon as we go into that lower vibration where it's like, oh, so-and-so, da-da-da-da-da, or the lady at the bank, da-da-da. And it's not always easy, and it's like a constant process where you're always monitoring your self-talk and your thought process and your words and what you're saying to other people, so that you are making a conscious effort to stay in that high vibration, where you're feeling gratitude for all the blessings that are all around us, all of us, every day, all the miracles that the natural world has to offer, and all of the amazing experiences that we get from all our relationships within the human society. So now that the two of us are working as a mastermind and studying this stuff and actively looking to add other like-minded people to our team to create even more of a powerful movement towards our vision, it's just super exciting, and I'm just super, super happy to be doing these hangouts and communicating this information to you, because I just know how valuable it has been for me in my life. And I think Larry can agree that studying these books has really not just been asset to our business, but I think that for both of us, it has created just a whole aura of betterment, where it's like, okay, I don't have to know it all anymore. I can be learning all the time and just be happily growing without competing with other people, without comparing myself to other people, without being in competition with other businesses, but coming from a place of creativity. And it's just a much, much more powerful place to be, because when you're in that mindset of competition, it's like somebody has to lose, somebody gets to win. But when you are coming, especially in business, from the mindset of creativity, you can create win-win situations where there's mutually beneficial relationships in business that can occur to move forward to a vision that creates a brighter future for everybody. And we're just about on the hour. This, like I said, this topic is simple enough for a child to understand, and yet it's so complex that you could study it your whole life and still not touch every element that is involved. So with that being said, I'm sure that we will touch on this topic again in the future, because like I said, it's a huge topic that could definitely be studied for many years to come, and still people would be like scratching their heads and being, how did I attract that to myself? Where was I vibrating when I attracted this situation? And you know, when you get a flat tire, that's my automatic where I go to now. It's like, hey, well, what did I do today that attracted this miserable flat tire to me, and how can I be grateful that, you know, at least my car didn't explode. Once I get a spare tire on it, it will still go. So it's a bright day, even though, you know, things happen. So did you have any closing comments on using the law of attraction in regard to disruptive technology and business, Larry?
Not not really specifically. I think the law of attraction just works for when you're working on something to really focus on what you're working on and drive all that positive energy towards what you're working on so you can see it to completion. That's pretty much it, how it works for myself.
Yeah, so I'm sure to most of our viewers, it's probably quite obvious that I've been studying this stuff a little longer than you have, Larry, because I definitely have a lot more to say about it. I could go on for another hour just talking about all different kinds of examples of for myself and people that I see out there. Like I've always used the law of attraction very, very effectively because I've always had a very optimistic attitude. Like I've lived, it's kind of crazy that I've actually lived in my dream home on 3 different occasions. Like not specifically my dream home, but a dream home. 3 times I've attracted these homes where I'm like sitting there going like, how do I live here? This is too beautiful. And but then my issue has been maintaining that because I've taken those things for granted, and when you aren't coming from that place of gratitude, it's really easy to lose the great things that we attract to ourselves. So we can maybe talk more about those examples on another day. So I'm just going to wrap this up here. It seems like my video isn't working right now, but I'm hoping that you can still hear me as I say goodnight. Larry seems to have already left us, and so I just want to close by saying if I don't see you in the future, I will see you out in the pasture because that's where I will be tomorrow and every day, bright and early at 6 a.m. And I believe that everyone out there can be, do, and have anything you want in this world, or you can have everything that you want. And I choose everything, and I hope that you will too, because you can. So yeah, let's do it. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you again next time. Good night, everybody.